tracks past Coldwater town, where the rails go dead and the sun stays down. No whistle calls, no engine cry, just gravel bones where echoes lie. The station rots in a ghostly hush, choked by weeds, wrapped in rust. And if you listen close at night, you'll hear 'em whisper wrong from right.
No prayers past the tracks, no light to lend, where the guilty go and saints pretend. The train don't stop, the bells don't ring, just ghosts with songs they still must sing. The ground drinks blood, the air turns black, there's no mercy past the tracks. They say a preacher once lost his grace, found hanging cold in that broken place, and a child's cry still haunts the steam of a night erased from every dream. The sheriff swore he'd cleanse this land, but vanished fast, gun in hand. Now his boots sit by the chapel door, no one goes near there anymore. No prayers past the tracks, no sin erased, just bones and boots that time replaced. The cross fell down, the choir fled, only silence left to count the dead. You cross that line, you don't come back, ain't no hope past the tracks.
Tell me what you've done. Tell me why she screamed. A train passes, but it's not real.
I went once with a bottle and shame to speak with ghosts that knew my name. I asked for peace, I begged for flame, but they just smiled and said, ain't that the same?
Now every footstep feels like theft, every dream a breath I shouldn't have kept. I play this blues to an empty track, each note a sin I can't give back. No prayers past the tracks, no song remains, only cursed ground and blood-stained names. No justice waits, no church bell cracks, just wind and ash and smokestack blacks. If you go down, don't look back, there's no soul past the tracks.
Found a letter in my father's coat, smelled like whiskey, mold and smoke. He said, forgive me, boy, I did them wrong, but blood don't wash, it just runs on. The name Coldwater inked in red, same as the dreams that haunt my bed. Now every face I see in town looks back like they wanna drag me down. There's rust in the bloodline, rot in the name, a curse that don't care who's to blame. It ain't what I did, it's what they done, passed like poison from father to son. Can't scrub it clean, can't outrun time. There's rust in the bloodline. fire, but folks say you watched that chapel burn high. Ma never spoke of the child she lost, just stared at the well, counting the cost. I ain't pulled no trigger, I ain't lit no flame, but the earth still whispers like I wear their shame. And when I walk by St. Mary's gate, the statues weep like they know my fate. There's rust in the bloodline, soaked in sin. No matter where you end, it's where you begin. I was born with a weight I don't understand, like a coffin's nail in my trembling hand. Truth ain't kind, guilt don't mind. There's rust in the bloodline.
Sins of the father, sins of the blood, we remember. Sound of an old lock clicking open.
Now I walk the edge of town at dusk, where the bones lie dry and the names turn dust. I tried to pray, but the words won't stay. They choke in my throat like Judgment Day. And when I look in the mirror at night, I swear I see his eyes in mine. So I play this blues 'cause it's all I own, a song for the sins I never chose. There's rust in the bloodline, staining the soul, a chain that wraps and takes control. You don't have to sin to carry the flame, just be born with the wrong damn name. Now I bear the weight, crooked by design. Yeah, there's rust in the bloodline.
Smoke rose slow from a black dust slume, moonlight drowned in a blood-red bloom. I kicked through embers, boots half burned, I stung with loss, heart full of dirt. Glass was melted, chairs turned bone, but near the bar where she last sat alone, I found it there, warm in the coals, a twisted ring like a branded soul. Her ring in the ashes, still wearing her name, left behind like a cruel old game. She danced in that room not a week ago. Now fire speaks what hearts don't show. A promise burned, a vow undone, and I know now who lit the gun. He was my brother in smoke and steel, swore he'd die for he let her feel the hands of evil or the taste of fear. But sometimes hate sleeps awful near. I saw his tracks on the outer wall, too clean to run, too proud to fall. And the match he dropped was mercy red, but the kiss he gave was what left her dead. Her ring in the ashes glowed through the dark like a last good piece of a shattered heart. I held it close, I felt her breath as if love could crawl back out of death. He made a promise, then watched her burn. Now the wind repeats, he won't return.
You said you'd keep me safe.
blood whispered in drought. The town still drinks, but the music's gone, and every song feels like something wrong. I left her ring at the chapel door, where saints don't stay and priests want more. I lit a candle with shaking hands and swore I'd find him across the land. Her ringing in the ashes, that's all she left, and the scent of smoke on every breath. He thought the flame would hide his trail, but I got blues that never pale. And when I find him, no words to speak, just fire for fire, cheek for cheek.
I smile in cold water, but not with their eyes. Behind every laugh is a grave that lies. The church bells ring, but they echo strange, like they know the ground's about to change. There's blood in the bricks, tears in the stone. This town was built on more than bone. The wells run dry, but the stink remains of secrets soaked in blood and change. It's a town built on bones, buried deep, where the truth don't die, it just learns to sleep. They planted flowers on forgotten names, painted the silence and prayed over shame, but the ground moans back in broken tones. Yeah, it's a town built on bones. I heard it first in a child's cry. Said her papa walked but never said goodbye. Mama said hush, that's just how it goes. But the well out back started to glow. Now folks get twitchy when the sun goes down, and dogs all howl at nothing in town. There's eyes in the dirt, breath in the floor. Cold water's got ghosts begging for more. It's a town built on bones, truth turned black, where the devil signs deeds around the shack. No one's clean, not the priest, not the mayor. They just bury it deeper like a wicked prayer. But the dust don't lie and the crow well knows. It's a town built on bones. Last night I dreamed of the sheriff's hat floating in the well where the blood ran flat. I woke to the sound of clawing dirt and a name on my tongue that still makes me hurt. Now I play this blues in the dead saloon, where chairs still creak to a ghostly tune. Each note I bend, another truth breaks. Cold water's curse, don't make mistakes. It's a town built on bones. Smile if you must, but don't dig deep or betray its trust. The well remembers, the stone still weep for every town built on bone.
But he did.
He wore the collar, spoke in flame, called on heaven, shook the blame. With eyes like stone and a voice like ash, he buried truth beneath the sash. He said the Lord sees all and knows, but kept a pistol neath his robe. And when we dug too close to pain, he showed the steel and not the chain. Then the preacher had a gun, not a prayer. And when the blood came up, he wasn't scared. He pulled the trigger on the first to ask, then wiped the barrel and donned his mask. Cold water shook, the sky went numb, 'cause the preacher had a gun when the truth did come. We trusted him with widows' cries, with dying men and children's lives. He baptized us in muddy streams while hiding ghosts inside our dreams. He blessed the bread, he bled the wine, but never looked us in the eye. And when the bodies came to light, he whispered God and shot through night. And the preacher had a gun, wore it well, spoke of heaven with the sin of hell. He carved the Psalms on bullet brass and prayed for mercy he'd never pass. The truth was close, he chose to run, but not before he fired that gun. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. But the echo said, now the chapel leans half burned, half dust, with ash and shells where once held trust. And I walk past with head held low, still hear his voice in every crow. They say the curse began with sin, but it was him who let it in. No demon rose, no witch was hung, just a man of God with an iron tongue. And the preacher had a gun, not the word, and every sermon now feels absurd. He preached of light, but pulled from shade, and we all bleed where faith betrayed. Cold water fell, undone, unspun, 'cause the preacher had a gun when the truth did come.
On St. Mary's Hill, where the crosses lean, the grass grows wild and the stones ain't clean. No sermons now, just the crows that call and the soft crack of dirt where the buried crawl. The wind brought smoke at the break of dawn, from no fire lit and no soul gone. Then the ground began to breathe like it held too much it couldn't sheathe. There's smoke over St. Mary's Hill, where the dead don't rest and the air stands still. They rise not to haunt, but to be heard, to speak again each silent word. You can run, you can drink your fill, but you see smoke over St. Mary's Hill. Old Father James was the first to fade, his grave split open like a vow betrayed. Then came the widow, still in lace, her wedding ring melted into her face. Children we lost in the 1863 flood came back dry, but their eyes ran blood, and each of them mouthed a name long hid, names the town swore it never did. There's smoke over St. Mary's Hill, where the bones remember and time stands still. They're not after vengeance, they want their name etched in stone instead of shame. Now the list grows longer and they climb still through the smoke on St. Mary's Hill. Lone crow calls, then silence. I stood with a lantern, heart full of dread, while the living prayed and the silence bled. Their faces weren't angry, just worn and gray, as if waiting for someone to finally say, we remember you, we know your song. The world moved fast, but it did you wrong. And when I whispered one single name, the smoke curled back from whence it came. There's smoke over St. Mary's Hill, but the dead don't rise when their names fulfill. Just give them a word, a stone, a sound to mark the place where they were found. Else they'll keep climbing with ancient will through the smoke on St. Mary's Hill.
She came.
She came to me in a fevered dream, wrapped in moonlight, torn at the seams. Hair like smoke, eyes like frost, spoke my name like something lost.
Said you left me there where the black reeds sway. He still breathes while I decay. I reached for her, but she turned to mist and left a knife where we once kissed.
She waits at the river's edge, where blood still clings to the water's ledge. No peace, no grave, no final breath, just a vow between love and death. She won't rest, and she won't beg. She waits at the river's edge. They found her dress snagged in the reeds, a ribbon red where the river bleeds. I knew his boots, I knew his coat, but I let him
can't turn the page. She waits at the river's edge.
Smile when I begged. You swore you'd protect me.
I walk now with mud on my hands, a name on my tongue, no wedding band. I've got one bullet and her last breath to balance love against his death.
She don't haunt to weep or warn. She haunts to pull me past the morn. And if I fail, I know full well she'll drag me down where spirits dwell. Oh,
She waits at the river's edge like a blade hit deep in a broken pledge. And I either kill or join her shade. No mercy left, no deal to trade. So I walk tonight on justice's ledge. 'Cause she waits at the river's edge.
Led me slow through the silent square. No crowd to cheer, just smokeless air. The sheriff stared, his badge half torn, and the preacher's eyes looked more like scorn. Boots on gravel, chain on bone, I felt each step like I walked alone. But Coldwater watched from porch and frame, and every house whispered my name. Oh, Gallows Moon over Coldwater sky. Ain't no place to run, ain't no reason why. I'm the sin they carved in stone, but I ain't the only one who's known. The truth don't beg, the rope don't lie. Under that gallows moon, I won't cry. They say I killed a man in July heat, but forgot to tell how he crushed my street, how he burned my home and stole my name, and left me broke and then framed my shame. I wore the guilt like a second skin, but deep inside I knew my sin. I wasn't clean, but it wasn't alone. This town was built on buried bone. Oh, Gallows Moon over Coldwater's breath, where the wind tastes sweet with death. They don't want truth, they want it neat, with rope and silence, not defeat. So hang me high, let justice bend, but I ain't the only one who won't pretend. You judge me, but never looked inside. I bled for what you tried to hide. Guitar bends downward like a cry for mercy. And now I stand with the noose around my throat, but my heart beats slow like a closing note. They think they've won, that the curse ends here, but the ground still groans with every year. My hands may shake, but my soul is steel, 'cause I face the truth they never feel.
So let that rope do what it may, but this town's ghost will never stay. I gallows moon over Coldwater stone. I may swing, but I ain't alone. The curse runs deep, the blood runs wide. You can hang the man, but not what died. The sin was shared, the blame was sown under the gallows moon. Truth is known. Last whispered line, this town hanged its own reflection. Then only wind. The sky turned red, the steeple cracked. Smoke rolled in and never looked back. I watched Coldwater catch its breath, then choke it out in fiery death. Didn't flinch, didn't pray, just picked my guitar and walked away. Left behind what couldn't be saved. A town, a name, a soul unbrave. On the road that buried my name. No cross to mark, no mouth to blame. Ash in my boots, flame in my wake. No one left to mourn what I couldn't fake. They don't recall, but they still hear the flame on the road that buried my name. Once I was someone, son, friend, fool. Played blues by the bar, kept the bottle cool. But Coldwater took more than it gave. Buried its saints without a grave. They burned my house, they burned my bride, then whispered peace with tongues that lied. So I lit a match with her ring in hand and watched redemption scorch the land. On the road that buried my name, no song too sweet, no heart to tame. What I was died in that blaze, but the memory stayed in the smoke, slow haze. They forget my face, but not the flame on the road that buried my name. Now I drift from town to town with chords like scars and no renown. They ask my name, I just smile and play that blues like a coffin's mile. I don't need a stone, don't want a hymn. My gospel strung on guitar limb. Let Coldwater sleep beneath its smoke, while I keep singing what truth once spoke. On the road that buried my name, I left a blaze, but not the blame. No one remembers what I became. tune, just the same, like a shadow walking through the flame on the road that buried my name. I walk a road, don't turn round. No mile markers, no burial ground. Dust in my lungs, smoke in my hair. I know I'm waiting, 'cause no one dare. I once had a name, it burned away. With every town I made betray. Now I sing blues to the bones below, a cursed confession in a broken flow. This is the road, no grave, no rest, where the wicked walk and bleed at best. No stone to fall, no cross to save, just dust and wind for the soul I gave. I howl through night like a dog and slave, still walking the road with no grave. I met a priest, he turned to flee. Said, you smell like brimstone, misery. I met a widow, she kissed my lips, then vanished like smoke through apocalypse. I don't eat much, I don't sleep right. I dream in blood and wake in night. Each town I play, I leave undone. Another hymn, another loaded gun. This is the road, no grave, no light, where forgiveness dies and wrong feels right. No hymns remain, no sins to shave, just blues I howl from the edge of a cave. I gave up heaven, I sold the brave, now I burn down the road with no grave. And scars, my ribs are strings, my lungs hold bars. I played a ghost, a clap off beat, and dance in shadows with broken feet. Sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry, but mostly I sing, 'cause I can't die. Each song's a wound I pour into flame. Each note I play